Hey babes, I am back today and I've got a really fun topic for you guys. So most of you that have been following me already know that I have these 5 stages of goddess consciousness that I teach from. And if you don't know, you definitely want to sign up for my free container playbook so that you can learn about these 4 stages. So the 4 stages are Basic Babe, Self-Aware Barbie, Million Dollar Babe, and High-End Divinity. Today, what I wanted to do was take the first 3 stages and kind of explain to you the stage of consciousness a little bit and how it relates to viewing the other gender, okay? So the basic babes, and of course there's the male equivalent of these. I don't talk about those a lot because I don't really work too much with men, but I'm going to give you a little bit about how it would work in the male world as well. So if you are in the stage of basic babe or basic dude, then there is that wounded inner child, and it means that there's some kind of a stunted emotional consciousness growth that happened in your childhood, meaning maybe there was an event in your childhood or a series of events where you didn't really have the proper rite of passage to grow into an adult. You may look like an adult, you may be legally an adult, but a lot of your core default behavior is more childlike in its consciousness. So when people are in this stage, before I actually talk about this, remember that all of us have the capacity to activate any of these 4 stages. So for example, if you've been doing your inner work for a while and maybe you're in a higher stage, you may have what I call a basic babe moment. And this really helps us be empathetic and compassionate with people having those moments, because we often have those moments as well. And just like that, a basic babe who maybe hasn't done her inner work may have a self-aware Barbie moment. So just keep in mind that we're not singling certain people out. We're just saying that we all have the capacity to go into lower vibes or lower consciousness, as well as going into those higher levels of consciousness. So the basic babe and the basic dude would say their consciousness around the opposite gender is us versus them. Think of like kindergarten or first grade or second grade, right? Boys have cooties, and typically girls play together and boys play together, and we don't want to touch the cooties. And there's a lot of blaming also in this consciousness, like they did this to us. It's all their fault. It's all the girl's fault. It's all the boys' fault. So in this stage, you're going to hear people saying things like all men are, or women are like this. They've grouped everyone into just this one group together, and it's just bad people. It's us versus them. There's going to be zero inner work at this point. There's zero personal responsibility. Their rationalizing things is very childlike. If you have a conversation with anyone having a basic babe moment, and you try to tell them that, hey, it was just that one time that this happened to them, they're not going to see it as that way, right? That one time that something happened to them, maybe a guy broke their heart or something, is enough for them to rationalize that all men are evil, all men are bad, and you shouldn't be dating men, right? So it's not, I am sure you all have had experiences with friends like this, or maybe you have been in that situation where there's really no like grown-up conversation with these people. So if you have a friend that is in that basic babe stage, there's gonna be a lot of drama making. One thing that I find really fascinating with basic babes and basic dudes is that as much as they hate the opposite gender, they seem to also be obsessed with the opposite gender, right? So for people that are in a different level of consciousness, if we dislike something, we simply just remove ourselves from that thing, right? Like if I don't like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. Like for example, if I don't like chocolate, right? I'm just not gonna eat chocolate. I'm just not gonna think about it, right? But with the basic babe, basic dude consciousness, if they don't like chocolate, they will become obsessed with chocolate. They will be watching videos about chocolate. They will be telling you, you shouldn't be having chocolate. They will be collecting figurines of chocolate. Like they'll become obsessed. And that's what we see in the us versus them communities, right? Whether this is men going their own way or women that hate men, they also seem to be obsessed with the opposite gender, talking about them, reading about them, warning everyone about them. So these are typically some of the signs that you see. If you are in this stage, if you are in the basic babe stage, I highly, highly recommend getting your inner work started. You may even need therapy. You may need, like, you're gonna want to start really at the bottom and work your way up with inner work. I do have a program called the Basic Babe Bundle, which is amazing for people wanting to rewire their belief systems. But honestly, I think most people that are really have done no inner work will need to start with therapy, because you need that empathetic listener that's going to be able to listen to you without any judgment, be able to mirror back some of your feelings and things like that, where you can work up to actually being able to work with coaching. Because remember that coaching is very fast-paced and forward-moving, and some people need therapy to even get to that baseline to be able to work with a coach, okay? So that's what I would recommend for the basic babe stage. Also want to say that if you have a male friend or a female friend that is in this stage, there's no point arguing with them. There's no point trying to convince them out of it. If you tell them, look, no, some men are great, look, this guy is great, or, you know, blah, 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 they're gonna start asking you questions like, well, where do I find this? Only to turn around and like, they're not in that consciousness to be able to receive what you're saying. They're just not. So in those situations, when I encounter people like that in real life where I'm not in a coaching situation, I simply just smile and nod, or I just say, oh, I'm sorry you've had a bad experience, and I just let it be. I don't egg them on. I don't try to change them. I don't try to point out, look, all these great guys. Like, they're just not in that consciousness where they can receive that. The second stage is the self-aware Barbie, or the self-aware Ken, let's just call it, right? In this stage, this is the stage of equal and sameness. So a man or a woman in this stage will be thinking men and women are the same and men and women are equal. So this stage is looking for fairness. This stage is looking for 50-50. So if I bring this, you bring that, we are equal, right? We are the same. We bring an equal value to the relationship. Now, at first thought, you might be thinking, well, that sounds like a huge upgrade from the basic babe. And it is definitely an upgrade from the basic babe. However, sameness and equality does not create attraction or polarity. So it creates a lot of issues, because it creates this transactional relationship where you scratch my back and I scratch your back. And we all know men and women do not fall in love this way. You cannot grow in love through a transactional relationship. We need attraction, polarity, and a whole other set of skills that are really missing from people that view relationships from the self-aware Barbie lens. So one of the big problems with the self-aware Barbie or self-aware Ken stage is that the thinking is that we are the same, and so if I like this, she or he must also like this. And as you can see, that's going to be a big problem, because men and women are different, and we have different needs in relationships, and we thrive differently, we give differently, we receive differently. And so because we are trying to understand the opposite gender from our own lens, this can create a lot of miscommunication. It can create a lot of divide. It can create a lot of missed opportunities and just like missing each other, miscommunication. And people in the stage typically want to sit down and like communicate everything, but it just doesn't work, because it's like they're speaking two different languages and trying to understand each other, right? So it's so interesting, because sometimes I'll get comments under my videos saying, well, why can't we just be grown-up adults and just communicate stuff? And my question is, how has communicating been going for the Western world? Like, how do you communicate? And like, for example, let's say a self-aware Barbie says, well, I'm just gonna tell him exactly what I need. And they give him a to-do list of exactly what I need in a relationship. Even if he were to go and do everything off your checklist, you're going to be turning around saying, well, he just did it because I told him to. Like, I have a friend that literally transfers money into her boyfriend's bank account to make sure that he's going to buy her presents for birthday and Valentine's Day. Oh, and then he takes that money and then buys her a gift, and then she gets mad because she had to transfer the money and then tell him what to buy. So this is them trying to communicate and make it work, right? But when you have polarity, you don't need this much painful communication, because you understand each other's differences. You understand the different lens that each of you has. So if you are in this stage and you're in the self-aware Barbie stage and you're stuck in the sameness, equality, 50-50 transactional kind of relationship, the 90-day relationship rehab is absolutely life-changing. It's going to teach you exactly what you need to be doing and not doing to start rebuilding your relationship, that emotional intimacy, that connection, that gut level emotional reaction, so that you can actually get to a stage where you can discuss some of those deeper topics, create that depth in your relationship without miscommunication and wanting to like chew each other's heads off because you're just not understanding what the other person is saying, okay? So in this stage, there's also often a lot of miscommunication in the sense that men will be trying to give women what they need, but that's not what women need in relationships. And then women will be trying to give men what they need, but that's not what men need in their relationships. So this can create a lot of confusion and heartbreak. The third stage is the $1 million babe / $1 million dude stage. And this is where that yumminess starts. In this level of consciousness, you understand polarity. You understand that both men and women have value because of the differences that we bring into the relationship, right? In this stage, two people are coming in as whole beings. So as a woman, you are a whole with the masculine and feminine energy, and your man is also a whole with both masculine and feminine energy, and you're both choosing to drop one of those things in the presence of the other one to create polarity. So for example, in my marriage, I know that as a whole person, I have both feminine energy and masculine energy. And as a whole healthy person, my husband has both masculine energy and feminine energy. So because I'm feminine energy dominant and he's masculine energy dominant, when we come into relationship in front of each other, I drop the masculine pole and go into my feminine, and he drops the feminine pole and goes into his masculine. And that's where the yummy, delicious polarity is created. So we bring different things to the relationship, and we understand that our deliciousness, our value, the thing that makes us amazing is our differences, not our sameness. So in this level, we're also very mindful that we might be seeing the other person from our lens. So when you get to this stage, you're very curious and you stay open-minded, and you may ask questions like, explain to me why you did this way. I'm trying to understand, right? Or tell me how you feel in this situation. Because we're trying to genuinely understand the other person's viewpoint and mindset, because we honor and respect each other's differences and what they're bringing to the table, so to speak, right? So if you want to get to this level, I highly, highly recommend the Conscious Couples Intensive. In this intensive, this is great for people that already have a great relationship. You have maybe great communication skills, like everything's good, but you're thinking, you know what, I want to create more depth. I want to take it to the next level. I want to learn how to communicate in a way that's even deeper and more well received for the opposite person, or the opposite gender. And by the way, you can do this even as same-sex relationships, because you're gonna have to bear with me with, I am using male, female, but energies have nothing to do with gender, right? You could be a woman that's masculine energy dominant, meaning you like to be the masculine energy provider in your relationships, and you're attracted more to feminine energy. So if you do take the Conscious Couples and you're in a same-sex relationship, like a lot of my students have in the past, I just tell them, just be forgiving of the fact that I am saying male or female, and just remember that you can switch that out for masculine and feminine energy, okay? So with this intensive, you can learn to take it even deeper. And when you're in the $1 Million Babe and Dude stage, you learn to communicate less with your words and more with your energy. This is where you don't have to have painful, drawn out conversations, because you understand each other's soft energy changes, and like you use less words, but you communicate on such a deeper level, and it just becomes so much easier. And of course, you know, I've said before, my husband and I definitely did not come into our marriage in this phase. Most of you that have been following me for a while know like the painful stuff that we have gone through and like done the inner work towards. So I'm here to tell you that you could start at any stage and work your way up here to this stage. And that's why I say that marriage where you're growing in love just gets better and better and better. Honestly, like it's honeymoon forever after, because every year is more robust, it's juicier, it's more delicious, it's more romantic than the one previous. My husband and I have been married for 14 years, and every time we go out, people think we either just met or just got married because of the energy that we have. We have new eyes for each other every single day versus carrying years and years of trauma and resentment and unforgiveness. So this is definitely something you can create or recreate in your beautiful relationship. If you're new to my work, subscribe and definitely sign up for my free container playbook so you can learn more about these 4 stages, 3 of which I discussed here. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.